Hello, welcome to Intaver Institute's Introduction to Project Risk Analysis. Today's video is going to be defining the risk properties. So we're going to take a look at how we define the risk properties that are in risk register. Start with a little brief overview of risk properties in the software, and then we'll show you how we can add, delete, or modify existing risk properties. So in the software, if we look, these are all the risk properties that are by default. If you just installed the software and went across and went to the risk properties view, you would see all of these risk properties that are now part of the system. Now if we were to, those properties are part of this, part of them are hard-coded into this view. And also, we can add properties in the custom properties. So this might be a place where we're just going to quickly go down and add cause, trigger, effect. We can quickly go down and add information about the risk that we want to track. But we may want to either have a longer list, or we want to have a shorter list, because if you look, there's quite a few in here. So to modify the properties, we're going to go to on the risk tab, we'll go to the define risk properties. Click that icon and we get this default risk properties. And here we can see again a list of all the properties that are included in the risk register by default. Now one of the things you may or may not see here, but some of these risks are grayed out, and the reason they're grayed out is that they're hard coded. They are part of the system. We can't, and you can't get rid of them. However, some of these other ones, like area of risk, if we wanted to, we could delete this. It's just like that. And I want to put a new I'm going to put it back in because I actually like area of risk because it allows us to say where that risk is. Is it we might put it as maybe it's with it's an internal or external risk. It's a resource risk. It may be a contractor risks. Any one of these things, we can just allows us to give a little bit more information, especially if we want to be able to go back and say, okay, where are all our risks coming from? This is a good property. Now, one of the other things you can see is the risks can have different data properties. So the string is basically alphanumeric. You can put in a word or a phrase, string of letters and numbers. It could be an integer, a real number, a resource. That means it's going to be pulled from your resource file. A date, obviously entering a date. A risk, so it'll look for a risk in your current risk register, or a cost, so it'd be a monetary value. So we wanted to add I'm going to say additional risks. And I'm just going to create a group of them. So I'm going to add this, and I'm going to call this new property. I'm going to put that out. And I'm going to keep it as a string. And when I do that, it automatically gets added to the list of properties that are available. So if I wanted to go into the risk properties, I could go in and say insert column before, and there's new property. And now that's part of the view. So if I went into a risk, went to custom properties, I could go down here and I could enter in a new property there. And that's our explanation of risk properties. The next video we'll be posting on is actually probably one of the most important ones, is how do we set up our risk matrix.